There's people, who are we all? I've been really looking forward to make this video. I've got a few days, well, I've got a day rest before I get on with the rest of my work. I want to do a little video on a player, so I decided I'm going to do it on Crysencio Summerville. Because, you know, a player like Cree who never quite really established himself as an out-and-out starter for Leeds United, and a player who fans weren't that sure about because there's not a massive sample size, really, especially in a successful team. And this season he's been outstanding, and especially the second half of the current part of the season, he's been brilliant. He's been getting a goal assist almost every game. So I wanted to do a video on him and how far he's come and how good actually is he compared to the league, and how he's progressing as a brilliant player and how he's becoming a vital player for Leeds United. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video. It's more statistical. I couldn't watch all the games and go through the highlights. I just don't have time right now. That will be something in the future I'll do with a lot of players. But yeah, we'll just get straight into it. And eventually we are going to compare him to who I think are the best other two best wingers in the league. But right now, let's look at his underlying stats. And look at goals straight away, obviously, the big one. He's got 8 goals in the Championship, which is 5th in the whole of the Championship, including strikers or whatever. 8 goals in the Championship so far this season is excellent. That's 1 in 2 games for a winger. And then you combine that with the assists, which is 5, which is 7th in the league, you know, the entire league. You combine them together and it creates 13 goal and assist involvements in 16 games in the Championship, which is 3rd in the entire league in terms of goals and assists. Very impressive underlining stats. And look at expected goals and assists. You know, if you're not interested in this, it's fine. I'll do it quickly, but it's interesting to me. Expected goals and assists is 11.85. Again, 3rd in the league. Expected goals, 9th in the league. So he's overperforming that. So he's scoring good goals, and we can vouch that he's scoring good goals at times where he's on the edge of the box and he's just cutting it in. You know, the one in the top corner, I can remember that. That was unbelievable. Expected assists, 5.22. 5th, so that's similar again. He's performing at a level in which he should be in that sense, and perhaps even overperforming in the goals he's scoring because he's scoring harder goals. You know, and as an underlining stat, they're very important, and we're going to compare him to 2 players in a minute. And they respectively have, I think, 10 goal involvements and 12 goal involvements. That's Jack Clarke and Jason Philogene. And of course, once we get into that, we'll just get into his dribbling stuff. And again, I'll move my head in a second, but look at that. And I personally don't use these, but you know, for you guys out there that want to use these player ratings this season, you know, the games he didn't play are there. And just look at those. The consistency of 8s in there is ridiculous. Of course, a few 6.9s in games where he maybe got an assist and it didn't complete a lot of successful dribbles. But on average, them scores are ridiculous. It's ridiculously high. So yeah, you guys want to look at that. It's incredible. And we've gone about the underlying stats, the goals, the assists. But as a winger in this league, another thing we attribute to Crysencio Summerville is dribbling. How direct he is his 1v1 play, his forward movement. So of course we're going to do that. We're wingers. I'll move my head over here. And I've compared him to Philogene and Clarke because for me, personally, from what I've seen, there's other wingers who have been excellent in this league, don't get me wrong. And there's probably wingers who have better certain stats. But as an overall entity in this league, you know, Sulamara was one I've compared with, but probably not played enough minutes for me, personally. But yeah, dribbles per 90. How many dribbles do you make per 90 this season so far? And Crysencio Summerville in the entire league is 10th with 8.22 dribbles per game. Now, if you look across European leagues, 8.22 is still a very high number. Obviously, in the Championship, you have elite talents who can just dribble for days, i.e. Crysencio Summerville, hence why he's 10th. And again, you've got to consider system in that as well, right? And the fact that we have another winger on the other side with Jorginho and Rutter in the team who are all going to do dribbles and all going to contribute. So it's not reliance on Crysencio Summerville, unlike probably Jack Clarke, for example, at Sunderland, where he's a lot of reliance on him to be that creative player. Jack Clarke is on 12 dribbles per game, which is, and then Philogene again, who's that outlier, that winger, that creative spark for Hull City, 12.44. Ridiculous. And Cree in 10th in 8.22. But how effective are those dribbles? It's alright been dribbling. How effective are those? Now, Cree's got a 52.7% successful dribble rate, which is lower than I expected. And it's not in the top 30 in the league. And again, look, you have to put context to that. People will make 2 or 3 dribbles a game and they'll be successful, so they'll be very high. But I looked at Jack Clark and Philogene comparisons, and they are slightly higher, and they make more dribbles per game. So either this is, again, down to areas in which Cree picks the ball up, maybe deeper, maybe trying more things, maybe the pass at the end of the dribble doesn't come off, it gets intercepted. These are things that are important. Maybe Clark's more 1v1, Philogene's more 1v1, where Summerville has 2 or 3 players around him at times. But it's definitely something Summerville can affect and improve for me. And you're only talking, you look at Jack Clark there on 61% successful dribble rates, which is ridiculous, by the way. And he has 12 dribbles per game. He's not as effective in his dribbling, which in that sense of successfulness. Which is interesting because when we watch him every game, his dribbling is ridiculous. But again, it's interesting to see now from just looking at the stats actually that in terms of effectiveness is something he could improve even more, which is scary when you think about it. It's not bad by any means. 8.22 dribbles per game is ridiculous, and 52.7 isn't terrible by any means. Probably just up that to maybe 55, 56. Going to the, similar to Philogene and Clark. So yeah, that's an interesting thing for me. And this is about comparisons. Again, in terms of goals and assists, Crysencio has more than those two. Not by a lot, but does have more. And there was a period in the season in Crysencio where he didn't, 6 or 7 games, he didn't get a goal or an assist. He got a goal or assist in the Cardiff game, but then there was 5 or 6 games after that where he didn't get any. So he's kind of catching up in that sense. Touches in the penalty area. As a winger, in an attacking team, how effective are you around the box? Are you in those positions to be effective? And again, Crysencio, from the mind, gets in the box a lot, in them shooting positions. I put 4.78 per 90 touches in the penalty area for Crysencio. Compare that to Jack Clark and Philogene, again, it's lower. Now, again, you can talk about systems. This is probably more down to the fact that we have more creative players than those other 2 teams, right? Jorginho Ruta, Dan James on the other side. Who's our striker? Jeez, Joe Burrow. So that is a stat that you can look at and think maybe he could have more touches in the box, and maybe that will introduce more goals and assists in his game. But maybe that's a system thing. But again, you look at his side and you memorize his side. A lot of it is him driving into the box or around the box in that area. But when teams sit deeper against you, it's harder to get in the box, right? But they're just interesting stats because dribbling is something you accumulate him being elite with, and actually he could be more effective with it. Which is scary for anyone playing against him because if he ups them stats by 2, 3, 4%, you're talking in the Jack Clark levels of dribbling, which again, some of the top in the championship for wingers. Yeah, interesting stats there, but again, we'll get into the overall thing after this. Construction stats. So these are like passes, key passes, and all that stuff. How you construct a build-up, how you make a build-up. Because again, it's more all about, I'll move my head again, it's more about the overall player. Who is the best winger? Is he the best winger? That's not just about goals and assists. That's not just about dribbling. That's about the overall picture, the complete player. And this is where he's better than the other 2. And again, there's other wingers who are better than him at this, but they weren't as high in the other stats. He's trying to get a balance. Through passes, successful percent. 64% of Crysencio through ball passes are a success. This is 4th in the entire league of any player. That is very impressive. Now, what I couldn't find is amount of through passes per game. That wasn't in the top 30 players. So he doesn't make a lot of them. But when he does do them, they're very effective. So again, we have other creative players. Let me just clarify this. But is that maybe something, again, where you can get him in a position where he can make more through passes? He's often the guy who is given the through pass, who receives the through pass, right? Because of the counters and the way we play. Or receives the dribble, right? He's not the guy who necessarily does it. But what he's shown here is he can do it. He's actually effective with those passes when he does it. So that's another little element of his game that is better. Look, Philogene wasn't in the top 30, so that's probably not something he needs to work on. He's very good 1v1. That's Philogene's ridiculous one. Jack Clark was up there, but not that high. 50% in 11th. Again, not as effective as Summerville. And then key passes per 90 is 0.94, so just under 1 per game, which is decent. He's 10th in the league. Jack Clark, similar with him, 0.93, 12th in the league. Smart passes, 16. He's made 16 smart passes this season, so that's around 1 per game, which is 10th in the league. And these stats are good because 10th isn't low. Every player in the league, and considering he's a winger and the other stats that are really high, his output, his goals and assists are up there. Everything is around there. There's not one stat that stands out as bad. It's the consistency of Crysencio Summerville, which for me is really developing him into an outstanding player. And again, Jack Clarke is up there, 13 and 14th. Smart passes percentage, again, another effective passer, Crysencio Summerville is. In terms of smart passes, a successful percentage, 68.75% of his smart passes are successful, which is third in the entire league. Now, passing is maybe something we've not accumulated to Crysencio Summerville, but now you can, because he's good at it. Progressive passes and the passes in the final third that create moments, that create attacking moments. He's very effective with them. And again, you can see Jack Clarke there. These two in the same team, by the way. Mental. But yeah, good passer. The construction stats are good. Probably somewhere where he is levels above the others, who might be slightly more effective in dribbling. In the passing stats, Crysencio Summerville does come out on top in terms of the progressive passing stats. Now for the final part of this, which is the running and movement. Again, another big part off the ball is huge in football. Finding the space, creating the space, enabling yourself to run into space or find that space is vital. Off the ball is very big. I've got progressive runs per 90. How many progressive runs did they make? And again, Crysencio Summerville, looking at the numbers, makes 5.39 progressive runs, which is 5th in the entire league, which is great. Good numbers, up there again, consistently good. Clarke, however, makes 8.52 per game, per 90, which is ridiculous. You've got Jaden Philogene, who's just slightly higher than Curry again. This is in terms of progressive runs. Now, again, you have to take, system into account, minutes played into account, obviously. Jack Clarke and again Philogene, from what I've seen, are the main attacking outcomes in their team, especially Jaden Philogene. Whereas Leeds United, for example, the main outcome in their team is the front four. There's not necessarily one main guy they rely on, and that's evident by the goals and assists that you can look throughout the league. Leeds have 4 or 5 in the top 15, whereas Clarke and Philogene probably only 2, if not 1 or 2 more in the other teams. So there's definitely more scope to consider that one. But progressive runs per 90, again, Crysencio Summerville up there. Again, ball progression by meters, by runs, sorry. The amount of ball progression by runs, this is ridiculous. Again, Crysencio Summerville is 136 running ball progressions this season, which is 5th in the league, which is ridiculous. But then look at Jack Clarke, 200 ball progressions by runs. 200. That's ridiculous. But again, talking about system, Jack Clarke is obviously more of an attacking outlet by himself, whereas we have a plethora of players who can also introduce to these ball progression, and I tell you, Georgina Rutter is also up there. So you have to put context, but that is ridiculous. 200 is ridiculous. And then look at these little things down here, and this is the heat maps. You can see the average play positions this season. This is minutes played. You can see Jack Clarke in the middle has played a lot more than the other 2 guys. But this stat here, 1,092, is successful actions, total actions, and the percentage is successful actions. So this season, in terms of every action on the pitch, Crysencio Summerville has 1,092 actions on the pitch. 57.6% of them are successful, which is fairly decent for an attacking creative winger who takes a lot of risks. That's not bad. That's decent. Probably could be slightly higher, but that's decent. And again, Jack Clarke, in 1,624 actions this season, is a 59.4% in terms of successful. So again, slightly higher than Cree. So in the overall game, probably maintains the ball a little more, but the output isn't as much, so maybe less risk in terms of what he does. And then Jaden Philogene, again, minutes played is slightly less than these 2. Slightly less than 3. But in terms of actions, 1,049 actions this season, 54% success rate. So slightly lower. And it's interesting comparison. And again, you have to think about the player, what he plays like, his style, his attributes. Maybe Crysencio Summerville is never going to be the type of player in terms of successful take-ons than Jack Clarke is, because Jack Clarke is an expert at that, the 1v1, whereas Crysencio Summerville often likes to cut inside. Maybe when he can dribble on the outside, he cuts inside and finds a pass instead, as stated by his passing stats. So the overall question was, is he the best winger in the league? I think there's an argument that he's definitely the most effective. His goal and assist output is higher than the others two combined. His passing stats are better. And in terms of dribbling stats and creating stats and running stats, he's still up there in terms of the league. So it's the top 10 of all the stats for an attacking player. In an attacking sense, he's up there. Jack Clarke is with him a lot of the way. But then the final outcome is a goal output. And that's where Cree's slightly ahead for me. Jaden Philogene is catching, though. Watch that. He's a brilliant player. But you have to look at the player where he's come from as well in Crysencio Summerville and how, he's still got 2 or 3 years on Jack Clarke. He's a younger guy. He's got more he can do, more to grow. He's such a young player and he's still learning and developing his game. There's a lot more to go with Crysencio Summerville. What he has shown this season is finally an end product and a consistency in that end product. That's what we've been looking for the last few years. And he's got a run in the team. He's got a manager who believes in him. And he's been coached really well to be more effective. And he can still be in terms of dribbling, in terms of passing, in terms of output even. Chances he misses. He can still be more effective. He can. But of course he can. And you want a player to have these improvements because that's the goal. That's the reason why you want them. Because you know they can do even more. They can be even better when they're already tearing the league up. And this is what I mean by people leaving too early and wanting that Prem move. The amount of development Crysencio Summerville will be having this year will do great for his season. He's not had a full season, really, where he's played consistently. He is now, and he's getting the results. The results in his performance and his goals and assists are finally coming out. Finally. And this could be the anchor, or the anchor, whatever it's called, for his career. It's opposite, isn't it? But you know what I mean. This could springboard him. That's the word. Because he's now playing every game, every minute, and he's enjoying it, and he's getting goals and assists, and he's learning certain things. He's learning about what he needs to do. He's learning how to be more effective in front of goal, how to be in better positions, how to help his team more with the ability he's got. So it's good to see. I'm very impressed. And there's more to come, which has shown there is still more to come. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I didn't have much time. I was going to do highlights and stuff, but I just don't have time. So I had to just get some stats. I appreciate all the support as usual. Let me know what you guys think about this and Cree. How do you think Cree is doing this year? Compared to where he started, which wasn't great for the first 5-6 games, apart from the first game. I think he's come on loads. Development, love it. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate all the support as usual. And I'll get in the comments for this one because it's a good topic. Yeah, so peace.